Going on 15 years ago now, by the way, ironically enough here. These folks were elected president of the United States. They were cheering about the first black president of the United States. And those of us, even back then, we were checking paperwork and saying, by the way, we need to keep an eye on this. And before it was over, our tune had changed radically once we had confirmation of some things. And now, since that time, if you'll all remember, there was a completely dunce group of people who were just so intellectually dead-ended that they were saying, we need to support Obama no matter what because he's going to do something for black people. He's going to. His first term came and went. He did absolutely nothing except undermine us. Well, he got to play the game, and he'll do something the second term. Then you waited. His second term came and went. We got to get him reelected. See, second term came and went. He undermined us even worse the second term. And then the same group of mentally dolted individuals was saying, well, he's going to do something for black folk after he leaves office. So wait a minute, what's the point of electing him president if he's going to do something after he's no longer president? What higher position is there? And of course, these individuals now are so embarrassed, so humiliated, after they sat here and fell for it. They've never apologized for what they did, by the way, on your Twitter feeds and everything else. These people who were saying that, your family members, they never apologized for what they did. They never apologized for falling for that ruse. They never apologized for trying to badger you and bully you into going along with it. They never did that. But the question remains. The real question remains, laid at the feet of Barack Hussein Obama and his wife, never let her off the hook. Michelle Obama, who was his beard for so long. Michelle Obama, who was his tan for so long. Michelle Obama, who was his tan, who was his black credentials. What did she get out of it? And what I'm going to do here tonight is I'm going to lay out the pathway here for you all to understand and see exactly what the Obamas got and how they got bought off. What exactly did they receive for what they did? First, what I want to do here is I'm going to take you back a few years now. And if you'll all remember that when they left office, oh boy, as soon as they got out, the money started rolling in, or should I say the payoffs started rolling in. The payoffs started rolling in. 2019 from Newsweek, the Obama Netflix with the former president and first lady's deal is worth and what they're producing. By the way, I dare you all to show exactly what they produced, by the way. Don't worry, we'll cover that. We'll cover that. The Obama Netflix deal explained, after completing their 2 terms as president and first lady, Barack and Michelle Obama have signed up for some pretty lucrative projects. The first, announced in February 2017, was a joint deal worth an estimated $65 million to publish their memoirs. $65 million to publish their memoirs. So now you have an idea of where the bidding started, and be aware they were aware of all this before they left office, because that is the Faustian bargain. That is the deal. They're made aware that this is what's coming for you as long as you play ball and do what you're supposed to do. This is what will be waiting for you after you sell everyone else out. Says they became instant bestsellers. As you all know, bestseller is a rigged term when it comes to books, especially the New York Times bestseller list. You can go take a look at that, by the way. While memoirs from past presidents are nothing new, the forward-thinking Obamas also struck an exclusive deal with Netflix to quote, produce their own movies, series, and documentaries to continue the philanthropic and social change work they championed while in office. People, what philanthropic and social change work did Obama champion? This is Newsweek. Even then, acting as press secretary and publicist for them, they didn't do anything. You can't point to anything. And yet they're sitting here saying that, oh, well, this is the reason why it's okay for them to take the payoff. The deal was announced in May of 2018 with the Obamas launching their own production company, Higher Ground. Oh, really? Really, Michelle? When they go low, you go higher ground? All right. To both produce their own shows and acquire and distribute existing content. Acquire and distribute. I guess when you got $65 million, I guess you got enough money to go acquire something. The financial terms of the deal were not disclosed, and there are no concrete estimates about the ballpark figure either. All that was revealed at the time was that it is a multi-year agreement. Can we get an attorney general somewhere to go check that deal out and see exactly what they got paid and for what? Because by my analysis, they haven't actually done much of anything. Oh, they've done some things, don't get me wrong. They didn't do anything to justify this. Not at all. Nothing to justify this. Now, they try to do some estimates here, which are really kind of specious, about Grey's Anatomy and Shonda Rhimes getting $150 million and Ryan Murphy getting $300 million. But, yeah. What the Obamas are producing for Netflix, you all can tell me whether or not which of these came out. I think American Factory might have. Bloom. Untitled Frederick Douglass biopic. All right. Overlooked. Listen to your vegetables and eat your parents. What in the flaming shish kebab hell? Fifth Risk, based on Moneyball author Michael Lewis's book, The Fifth Risk, Undoing Democracy. Okay. Crip Camp. All right, fine. This is what the Obamas were doing there. $65 million for the memoirs, getting broke off a chunk of change by Netflix. Oh, we're not done here yet. By the way, here, folks, the Spotify deal. Remember, I've talked about that on my other YouTube channel because, yeah, I roam these internet streets and have for a while. So when you see that Michelle Obama has a Spotify program, well, of course, I want to keep an eye on that. And, oh, yeah, by the way, why Spotify dropped its deal with Barack and Michelle Obama. The Obamas are searching for a new home for their podcast. Now, this was back in 2022, but there's a reason why I'm covering this. The Obamas are searching for a new home for their podcast after Spotify reportedly declined to offer the former couple a new contract because they didn't make enough personal appearances on the streaming service. Barack and Michelle Obama are reportedly in talks with several companies, including Amazon's Audible and iHeartMedia, on a deal that will likely be worth tens of millions of dollars, according to Bloomberg News. The ex-president and the former first lady who co-own the production company Higher Ground will reportedly decide on their podcasting platform of choice sometime within the next few weeks. One of the sticking points in negotiations with Spotify was the Swedish company's insistence on an exclusive licensing deal. Even if the Obamas produce podcasts for another company, those shows will in all likelihood make their way to Spotify anyway. Streaming services want the Obamas to make more frequent appearances themselves in order to generate more buzz for their street company's content. But the former first couple is reportedly willing to commit to no more than an 8-episode program. Higher Ground was paid a reported $25 million after signing with Spotify in 2019. You put that together with just their memoirs, folks, that's $90 million plus whatever Netflix gave them, which means that we're most likely in the hundreds of millions of dollars. We are most likely in the hundreds of millions at this point, and there's a reason why I'm bringing this up. There's a reason why I'm combing through these things. There is a reason why I'm doing this, because I want to remind you all of something. If you'll remember, on his way out of office, on his way out the door, President Barack Obama did an interview with Ta-Nehisi Coates, where Ta-Nehisi Coates was talking about the future and talking about what black folk were going to have to deal with. And you'll remember I covered this here on my program and talked about this grinning bastard. And there's a reason I say that, because they were talking about what the future was going to be like and talking about how much change Obama did not do and could have. And then Obama sat there and told him, well, change can be slow. Change can be slow, and it's never as fast as any of us would like to. And sometimes we have to wait for those things, and things never go as fast as we would like for them to. So you all have to learn to be patient. But I want you to understand that it's you who have to learn to be patient, not him. Because you see, Barack Obama, while telling you about how the dangers of the police gunning down your children, white supremacists that he allowed to walk free, by the way, he allowed them all to walk free, except the very most egregious he couldn't hide. All of them walked free. All of them walked free. All of them. And then Obama didn't say anything. You have to ask yourself, what was the price of that? What did that really cost? I'd like to tell you exactly what it cost here. I'd like to tell you what it costs. If you take a look on your screens here, I want you to take a look on your screens. Take a look at this. While Barack Obama has done nothing for the rest of us here, as I predicted, while he's taking care of his, he's taking care of his now, isn't he? So you can see all these media companies and entertainment. You're noticing all of that. You're noticing all of that. And now they've passed the bag to his kids to make sure that you understand we're taking care of them. Malia Obama debuts short film The Heart at Sundance. Malia Obama's short film called The Heart is getting a screening at the Sundance Film Festival. Getting a debut at the Sundance Film Festival. Yeah. Think about that for a few moments there. In a video posted by Sundance about the project, Obama, who wrote and directed The Heart, describes it as an, quote, odd little story, somewhat of a fable, about a man grieving the death of his mother after she leaves him an unusual request in her will. Quote, the film is about lost objects and lonely people, forgiveness and regret, but I also think it works hard to uncover where tenderness and closeness can exist in these things, said former President Obama's 25-year-old daughter, 25, and already debuting a film at Sundance, 25. 25. And already at Sundance, based on what? Based on what? Now, there's the real question. We hope that you enjoy the film and that it makes you feel a bit less lonely, or at least reminds you not to forget about the people who are, she said. In 2022, actor and producer Donald Glover hired Obama as a writer on his Prime Video series, Swarm. Did anybody see her? Did anybody enjoy her work on Swarm? Quote, she's just like an amazingly talented person, Glover said of Obama, calling her really focused. Calling her really focused. Now, folks, there's a reason why I'm bringing this up. As you all know, I'm a filmmaker myself. I've got some Amazon bestsellers under my belt. I know a thing or two about this. I have beaten some of the people that the white media and the old dead black media attempted to promote. And you and me, because I don't do this by myself, but we here, all of us, kicked their butts with all 4 feet. I could say a lot of things about Malia Obama's film, The Heart. I could say a lot of things about it, but why don't I take you over here to YouTube? They have a video that in 3 days has gotten 236,000 views. Whether those are all legitimate or not, let's just assume that they mostly are. And I want you to hear about it in her own words. I want you to hear about this and see this in her own words. And then you'll know why I talked about this tonight.
My name is Malia, and I am the writer-director of a short called The Heart. Here's some stills from the film, which will be screened with the U.S. Fiction Short Films this year at Sundance. This is an odd little story, somewhat of a fable, about a man grieving the death of his mother after she leaves him an unusual request in her will. The film is about lost objects and lonely people, and forgiveness and regret, but I also think it works hard to uncover where tenderness and closeness can exist in these things. The folks who came together to make this film have my heart, pun intended, and I'm incredibly grateful to them for giving this story life, and we are grateful to Sundance for giving us the opportunity to share it with you all. We hope that you enjoy the film and that it makes you feel a bit less lonely, or at least reminds you not to forget about the people who are.
Okay. So, one more thing here. You can see it says, meet the artist Malia Ann. That's Malia Obama. So she wants to be called Malia Ann. All right. Fine. First of all, just in case you need to be reminded here, I just thought I would take a moment to show you. Those are stills from the film that she's making. Those were still images. Well, here's one right here, in case you missed it, in case it went by too fast for you. Here's one still. Boy. Here's one. Here's another still. Let me go ahead and enlarge this for those of you who may be watching on cell phones or whatever and haven't figured out how to turn them sideways. Here's still number 1. And here is still number 2. Now, I could show you some more as well, but by the way, I couldn't help but notice this has got Precious written all over it. Every time you turn around, this is the depiction that you keep seeing. This is the depiction that you keep seeing. Let's be very, very clear here. It ain't black men from the foundation who depict black women in this absolutely degenerate, undignified manner. You want to know who it is who does that, though? Oh, there are folks who do it. They do it for a living. They do it for a living. And I just wonder, does Malia identify as black or as Kenyan? There's a reason I asked that. I wonder, does she identify as black or as Kenyan? Now we know that she's done some adventuring. She's certainly done some adventuring during the pandemic. She was making friends. Her father smokes and her boyfriend smokes. Okay, I don't think she's with this guy anymore, but yeah, looks rather familiar there. Her family has hundreds of millions of dollars that have been given to them. And now the progeny, now the children, now they've been allowed to go out and, we're going to go dump money on them. We're going to go dump some money on them now because we got to make sure that train keeps coming through. Now, just in case you all might have been wondering here, I want to say that she was an intern. She was an intern for Harvey Weinstein. Oh, for those of you who didn't know, according to the Los Angeles Times, the eldest daughter of President Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama, Malia Obama, entered the entertainment industry in 2017 as an intern for now disgraced media mogul Harvey Weinstein. All these lines of connection, all these degrees of connection. Think about that for a few moments. Think about that for a few moments. You see, while he was telling you that your children would have to wait, that your children will have to accept that, there are injustices and will continue to be. See, that's what he's telling you. That's what he told all of us when talking to Ta-Nehisi Coates, that, things will continue. Change happens slow and you just got to roll with it there. You got to roll with it there. And that's what he told us. But if you were wondering what it was and what the payoff was, if you were wondering what they got for it, it wasn't just Obama. Now he made sure he got the daughter plugged in. He made sure he got the daughter plugged in while telling your children, make sure you dodge the police and the white supremacists. His daughters have Secret Service security while he's telling your children that they will have to continue. They just need to learn how to live with being discriminated against. Obama could have done something about these internet companies who discriminate against us. The white supremacists run rampage on the internet and are made filthy rich in the process, by the way. They are made unbelievably wealthy in the process. Obama sat quiet. You know why? Because those same companies, they paid him off. They told him, don't worry, we will take care of you and your kids so long as you sell out everyone else. And do not forget Michelle Obama right there with him. Right there with him. Folks, do you know what the hell it takes to get into the Sundance Film Festival? Do you think you just get to walk up as a first-time filmmaker and boom, there you are at the Sundance Film Festival? Do you think that's the way that works? Sundance, South by Southwest, Cannes. Do you think you just walk up and boom, there you are at the Sundance Film Festival? You think that's... Do you realize how many people have been working in Hollywood for years or decades and can't get into Sundance? What does it take for a 25-year-old first-time writer-director to be able to get into Sundance? What does that cost? What does that require? How did she do that? Well, you know exactly how she did that. You know exactly how she did that. This is the payoff to their political puppet. You take care of us, your family is taken care of from here on in. We got y'all. You make sure that your people don't make any progress. You make sure that you play ball. You do what we tell you to. Yeah, the rest of the folk are screwed, but you and your kids are all right. Y'all gonna be okay. And then you take a look at this film that is written and directed by the daughter, and see the daughter's opinion, the daughter's viewpoint on black people, but specifically black women. I'm going to go a little bit further here. Let's go ahead and bring that. Take a look at the guy. Take a look at the guy, because I wanted us to see that there as well. See, I couldn't help but notice that. I couldn't help but notice a lot of the framing of this. I noticed the framing of it. And the framing of it all speaks to me as a filmmaker, as an artist. The framing of it speaks to me because I noticed something here. You take a look at the guy, first of all. Take a look at him. Why, he looks timid, shy, recessive, meek, dependent on a female. There's nothing about this that says assertive. This isn't color purple. This is the color whack. You take a look at this, and this is what you see. He looks very, very weak, very timid, very soft, very submissive. I mean, could you imagine Denzel Washington or Samuel L. Jackson doing this? Could you imagine this? You just take a look at this. Maybe Jonathan Majors can make a comeback here, but you take a look at that. And by the way, does this even look, I'm just saying, does this even look like one of us? Ill-fitting, awkward, meek, recessive. And then you find out where she's been. And then you take a look at the mother and take a look at what mom accepted. And then you realize very quickly why this all adds up. Now remember, she's the one calling the shots on this, ostensibly. Just remember that. Malia's the one. She's the one who wrote and directed this. That means that she's the one who chose the camera angles and how it looks and everything else. This is her handiwork. These are her choices. She's the one who chose these. She's sitting here doing the whole damn video telling you how proud she is of this. These are her choices. That's the real thing I want to hammer home to you right now, that these are her decisions. She's telling you that this is my artistic vision. Of all the things that I could have chosen, this is what I want to show you. Because this is my view of black people. And her family has just been given, didn't have to earn it, while they were just thrown hundreds of millions of dollars. You want to know how it is that George Zimmerman and Daniel Pantaleo and Darren Wilson and all these others got to walk for so long? You want to know why it is that YouTube and Facebook and Twitter are bastions of white supremacist ideology and propaganda, where they're getting filthy rich in the process of doing it? Look no further than the first family of treason. And they got paid off lovely, and the payments continue. You want to know why it is that your black so-called political class is so damn quiet? You want to know why it is that they're not saying anything? You want to know why it is that that happens? Now, you sit up here and let them know, by the way, you've made a whole career of ignoring our interests and standing up for everybody else. You want to know why it is? Not because they've been paid. Now, here's the killing part about it. It's not because they've been paid anything. All of them are chasing the same carrot. You see, they saw Van Jones get $100 million. They saw Simone Sanders get a gig on MSNBC. They saw Barack Obama get broke off a few $100 million. And what it created was a cattle stampede among the bootlick political class to see if they can get a check for themselves. That's why you can't depend on them for anything. That's why you can't get nothing. They haven't even been given anything yet. They're doing all of this to put themselves in position. And by the way, that is not just Democrat, that's Republican also. That's Republican also. Daniel Cameron, Tim Scott, we can go down the list. All of them are hoping for a payday. All of them are hoping for that. All of them are looking for their chance. All of them are. That's what they're selling us out for. They're not even selling us out to get anything. They're selling us out in the hopes of getting something. They're selling us out in the hopes that they will get something. They seen what they gave the Obamas and Van Jones, and now they're licking their chops. You talk about Fannie the Mammy Willis. Come on now, she needs a lot of money. She needs a lot of money if she is going to pursue this voluptuary lifestyle that she's got in mind. She needs a lot of money if she gonna do that. And she knows it. She's already gotten herself in a bind early. She gonna need buku bucks to get out of that. That's why the folks that you do see in those positions, they try to get themselves in a position where they can be in the fundraising part of it. That Jamie Hairston cat, Stacey Abrams, and if they can't win office, and they won't, they try to position themselves in a position where they can collect a bunch of money. They try to put themselves in a position to collect a bunch of money. This is the reason why we can't get anything done with these folks. This is the reason why going to them doesn't work. This is the reason why no tangibles, no vote. We cannot put these people into office first and then get them to accept a black agenda second. They're going to have to come into office with their credentials very clearly established or nothing. That's the way that's got to work. You come in with your credentials clearly established. You establish you're from the soil. You establish your credibility among us, or nothing. Because this is the result of us enabling individuals without vetting them, without checking the paperwork, without making sure that's everything is in order. This is the result of doing that. They've all sat there and gotten filthy rich. His children have gotten that white privilege. His kids have gotten that white privilege. Why? They've got that Logan Paul money at this point. They got that Logan Paul money and ain't did a damn thing. Meanwhile, they have not made sure that the rest of us get the same treatment on these platforms or on these media networks or these media channels. They didn't make sure that the rest of us got that. Byron Allen hasn't made sure the rest of us got that. Jason, you never came out supporting Byron. I saw the game from the beginning. Jason never came out supporting him and whatnot. When Jason is quiet, when Jason isn't saying something, he's trying to say something. He made sure that his kids have the express lane to the Sundance Film Festival so they can sit up here and put up the usual black mammy degrading imagery. That's what he made sure of. He made sure that we got Aunt Jemima in full effect on here. That's what he made sure of. Can you understand and see why the establishment was never afraid? And for those of you who were dumb, stupid, brickhead, numbskull, and idiot enough to sit up here and tell folks, well, wait until he leave office, he gonna do something for black folks then. This is what he did for black folks after he left office. He didn't do something for us, he did something to us. This was what you got. This is what you get. We've been talking about it now for 15 years. Some of you are still arguing in denial, or you just got real quiet and meepish and just haven't said anything anymore. Want you all to understand. I want you to understand that your so-called political class, this is where they stand on us. This is how they see us. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to give Obama's daughters a career path of their own. And truth be told, it's not really a career path. You're just giving up some money laundering. This is just a way of basically washing the money. Washing the money you paid off the parents. This is their way of washing the money. But there's a problem. There is a problem. There's a reason why this will not work for her. It's not going to work for her because, Malia, you don't have any support from the soil. You already tipped your hand, your track record is bad, your paperwork is dirty, and you don't have any support from the soil. So you see, those companies are going to have to just do for you what they did for your daddy and your mama. They can throw the money at you, but what they cannot do is reform your image. Ain't going to be no Olivia Pope action here. You're not going to be able to sit up here and have a spin doctor who's going to clean up your image. That's the problem. So they can throw the money at you, baby, but they ain't going to be able to clean your image up for you. You've already given that up. That's already gone. See, the problem is your mama and your daddy, they can do all, first of all, they can try the podcast if they want to. Wasn't nobody watching and nobody was listening to that completely boring dreck. Folks, I will be honest with you here. Usually you can depend on me to sit down and watch a program. You can usually depend on me. I do it for debates. I've done it for white supremacists. You all remember Pearly Things. Nobody else could be bothered to sit there and listen to the Nick Fuentes interview. I could be bothered to do so for a few hours. But I got to tell you, I didn't make it through Michelle Obama's podcast. I didn't make it. Oh boy, it was like listening to two drug addicts on Valium. And if you don't remember what Valium was, look it up. Oh my God, it was terrible. It was awful. Sitting there listening to them. She's talking all low and slow. He's talking lower and slower. I'm just like, are y'all in there hitting the joint while you're talking? And while we were in office, dear, just from time to time when you look outside and see the flowers and take notice of that. And he'd come in. Yeah, that's what I would tell people there is that so often, Michelle, it'd be necessary to have some friends over and give them some hope and some change. And that'd be good. I have expected him to say, man, screw this. Let me go hit me a joint right quick. I got to go. Bye. Their podcast was utterly unwatchable and unlistenable. You should have prisoners at Guantanamo Bay have to listen to that. It was absolutely unbearable. They are one of the very few things that I couldn't make it through it. It was impossible. And it's not so much because they were talking low and slow. They weren't saying nothing. They weren't saying anything. You're supposed to sit there for 45 minutes to an hour and they're not saying nothing. I'm like, oh, these people paid you millions of dollars. And you have nothing to say. You're just babbling in circles. You were in the White House for 8 years. You've been paid millions of dollars and all you can do is sit here and babble about the damn Rose Garden. But then again, you were already paid off. What I just said to you all might be humorous, and I understand that, but this next part is no laughing matter. But then again, you were already paid off because you see, our children are still out here, left alone. Our children have folks attacking their rights at the Supreme Court. Our children have people out here legalizing discrimination against them, legalizing targeting of our children. Your kids are protected, Obama. Why, they are physically protected, socially protected, financially protected, all these things that our kids can't get. Why, you made sure that yours had it handed to you. That's no laughing matter to me. And then you see that she's now the real thing is coming out. And I submit to you all that this is the attitude toward black folk here in the Obama household. This is how they see the rest of us. Why, that they are the dignified people. Looking like something from some twisted version of Glee. Oh, but that we out here, well, this is the way they see us. Why, the women are all big, round, bonnets on their heads, weigh as much as a U-Haul. And the males, to be a respectable, I want you to understand the message here. Why, to be a respectable black male, why, you can't dress like us, you can't be assertive, you can't be strong. Why, you have to be some broken, weak, meek individual. When's the last time you all saw a black man and his mother passed and this was the way that he behaved? That's not the way we respond to that. We don't respond, your shoulders all down and you sitting here looking like James Clyburn. But what she is telling you is that in her opinion, this is the way that black men should be. And you know, I would love to see her depiction of white men. I would love to see how Malia Obama depicts white men. If she had a chance, I wonder if there are any white men in this movie. If there are any white men in the movie, I wonder if the white men in the movie are depicted the same as the black one. I want you all to think about that for a few moments here. I wonder if she's going to depict the white men or the white women the same way that she's depicting the black men and the black women. I wonder if it's going to be similar. Are we going to be showing white people of similar socioeconomic status and social behavior? I wonder if that's what you're going to see. Or if the white people will be depicted the way they were in Precious. Well, they're different and they're dignified and they're intelligent and we just need to deal with you screwed up Negroes over here. We gotta just deal with you screwed up, messed up Negroes over here. That's what we got to do. Obama's out of office, but what they're hoping to do is to milk that name. But you're already having problems doing that because Malia refuses to even refer to herself as Obama. So in other words, the daughter is conceding that that name is a negative. Well, now you could try to make the argument, oh, well, Jason, like Francis Ford Coppola's son, Nicholas Coppola, doesn't call himself Nicholas Coppola. He refers to himself as Nick Cage. These are screen names. Oh, I understand that. I get that. Here's the issue, though. This girl ain't made it far enough to sit up here and try to take up some name like that. And that's Malia Ann is certainly not what got her to the dance. What she's conceding is that the Obama name is a negative in this field. Nicholas Coppola knew that he had everything he needed through his father. That's the reason why he didn't go for that. But then you have Josh Brolin and others we could name here. So what she's conceding early on is that name is a negative. That name's a negative. That's what she's conceding. If they could stand up for that, they would do that. Instead, she's saying, let me put some distance between that. That's not so you can differentiate yourself. That's not so you can differentiate yourself. That's because she is acknowledging, this name is not so great, so you're already conceding that it's not working. So I hope you enjoyed the money. I hope you enjoyed the payoff. I hope you enjoyed what you got there. I hope you enjoyed your Sundance debut because, baby girl, this ain't gonna fly right here. You see, if you weren't paying attention, they're trying these things here from the Woman King to the color purple. They've been trying to re-inject that juice and see if maybe we can have another Precious somewhere. They keep trying and they keep failing. It ain't gonna work. But what these people are showing you is that just like in politics, they refuse to update their files. They are committed to portraying us in this way. So because they want the social norms to remain the way that they are. So when they're given an opportunity, even if it doesn't work, they're going to keep going back to the well and trying to push the same line. They're going to try to push the same line. They're going to try to push the same agenda. This is what they do politically, and this is what they do socially, and this is what they do artistically. The Precious thing is already dead. Hell, Precious was dead when it came out. And yet they're still, when they're given an opportunity, This is the image they put forward. This is what they push. Bill Cosby made it a point and a priority to portray black people as upper class and dignified and intelligent. Decades later, here you have a former president's daughter, and this is the way in which she responds to this. This is the way she responds to it. This is the way that she responds to this because they understand. They understand. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. But they have to push it anyway because anything else, is going to change things. So this is DOA because this is not who we are. Notice, I didn't say that this is not the way we see ourselves. I'm saying that this is not the way we are. But very interesting, of all the imagery that Barack Obama's daughter could have chosen, of everything she could have chosen when given a blank slate and being allowed to do what she wanted to do, she didn't choose a woman that resembled her own mother. She didn't choose something that resembled her own mother. And she didn't choose a man. Well, I guess to her, now this part I will say, I know I'm going a little Freudian here, but I think that's going to be the same thing. That's how she sees her father. I think that what she's doing is psychologically telling that that's how she sees her father. That she sees her father that way. That she sees her father as soft, awkward, recessive, sloped-shouldered, meek. Think about that for a few moments. Hell, to be totally honest with you, there's an argument to be made that this is how she sees her mother. That maybe what she's trying to tell us is that there's the way that you all perceive my mom, but then there's the way my mom really is. We could go down this rabbit hole for a little while, couldn't we? Perhaps Malia is trying to tell us something. That, by the way, for all of you out there, I know there's a way that you see my mom, but the way I see black women is, as portrayed by my mother, this is what they're like. This is who they are. Dad is weak, recessive, slope-shouldered, dependent. Mom is aggressive, assertive, emotionally distant, combative. Just some thoughts here. Just some thoughts. I would not be the least bit surprised if that is what actually occurred. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if that's not actually what occurred. Because this vision came from somewhere. Remember, she's the writer and director, so this vision came from somewhere. Her desire to portray them like this came from somewhere. So that vision is colored from somewhere. And all I'm saying is I'm wondering where that came from. And if I could just, go a little Freudian here, I'm like, the guy apparently, I'm just saying that's just too spot on. That's just too spot on. I mean, he dresses like Carlton Banks. When's the last time you saw a black man in public with this color scheme of clothing like this? When's the last time you saw this? So you've got this real odd differentiation here because as black men, We tend to dress one of two ways. We either dress trendy or we dress in power clothes. That is either or. There isn't this really, recessive, falling down, nevish, Midwestern, white or immigrant industrial worker look to it. We don't have that. We don't have that. The descendants don't have that. We don't dress that way. We dress in blacks. We dress in solid colors. We don't dress in this ill-fitting type of, the odd man out industrial worker type thing. That we don't do that. We've never done that. We have never dressed that way. So this is a foreign piece of clothing. This clothing here is foreign. This isn't us. So we either dress trendy or we dress power, but that's it. It's one or the other. But this isn't it. We've seen this before, but this is not from our culture. This is from outside of it. So what you have is a black male doing a poor imitation of a cultural clothing that came from outside the community. If I'm telling the truth right now, everyone give me the shirt emoji in the chat room and hit the likes button. It's almost 6,000 people in here live right now as I am giving a critical analysis of how political puppets get bought off and how Barack Obama's family now, as we are seeing here, the payments are coming in while your children are left struggling without. He's made sure that his children, while they're still sitting up here throwing the payoff money at them, while Obama's been paid off and now they're paying off the kids. And this is what will serve as the incentive package to everyone else. This is what will serve as the incentive package to all of them to chase the carrot. Hey, if you play the game like Obama did, chase the carrot. You can get yours too if you chase the carrot. Well, what is that particular carrot here? Well, don't say or do anything that could offend us. We recommend you don't say or do anything that we might find offensive. Would hate for that little money to dry up on you there. Would hate for that to dry up. And this is what you end up with. This is what you end up with. If you all ever wonder what the deals were that the Obamas cut to sell us all out, if you ever wondered what they were getting, what was in it for them, what did they receive, this is what they received. This is what they got. This was the payoff. This was the payoff to sell out everybody else. That was all it took. That was all it took. Let this serve as a lesson for us going forward. Not to allow these kinds of things to happen again. And for us to be aware that there's a never-ending group of folks out here who are eager and desperate to get paid off at our expense. Don't forget that. This isn't just one or two. There's a long list of them eager and ready to get paid off. They're looking for a record deal. They're looking for a movie deal. They're looking for to be appointed commissioner or something. They don't actually want to do any real work, by the way. And that they will get there on our backs. That they will get there at our expense and get there on our backs. Now, we're left out here defenseless, got to fend for ourselves. They've made the situation more difficult because they've empowered the very people who are after us. And yet they're telling you what you don't need. And he's telling you, by the way, your family needs to wait to be safe. Oh, but not his. He's taking care of his already. He's taking care of his already. However, you might disagree. Therefore, the telephone lines are now open, and the number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. Your personal access code to the Blackest Radio program in existence, the only one of its kind on planet Earth today. And as always, you are willing, ready, and invited to join us here. I would like to take a moment here to thank everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program. Thank you very much here. Big shout out to my man, Mr. Richburg. Thank you very much, Brother Chadwick, B1 Media's Lifesaver, Miss Merritt, and everyone else here who has contributed to support tonight's program on PayPal, Venmo. Thank you very much for your support. We appreciate that. We're going to take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break. When we come back, we'll take your phone calls and more. This is The Black Channel.
Hello, my name is Steve Burgess, and I'm the author of this book, Guidelines for the Successful Student, a closer look at parenting your school-aged child. In this book, I've explained the role of the parent and the student in addition to what accommodations, procedures, rewards and consequences and expectations that need to be in place to ensure student success from primary to high school. This book is available on Amazon.com. For more information, please visit my link tree at Easy One-on-One, and to access my latest podcast, A Teaching Moment with Mr. B. Thank you all for listening.
A white supremacist assassin seeks revenge. Corrupt FBI agents with evil intentions. Dangerous black collaborators dedicated to treason. Occam Jeffers must defeat them all and somehow survive. One misstep and he's a dead man. Join Occam Jeffers as he looks the devil in his blue eyes and tells him, Black first. A sequel to the underground hit War of the Heart, Spirit of 1811 Publishing presents God Love Us, on sale at Amazon. Pre-order and save today. Visit spiritOf1811publishing.com and show your love.
Order yours today to experience all the benefits of Ash Kickin' natural body butter. With skin so smooth and soft, you'll thank us for it. Shop Ash Kickin' online. That's ASHKICKIN.com.
Hi, this is Brenda Starr, creator of Poetry with a Purpose and author of the book Pressed But Not Crushed. Pressed But Not Crushed is an anthology of political poems that address current and historical issues in American descendants of slave population and African American population. The book describes slavery and its residuals, Jim Crow segregation, social depredation, and other relevant issues to American descendants of slaves and African Americans, including the current political climate that does not address our issues.
This is The Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. Very glad to be with you all here this evening, and the telephone lines are now open. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. Your personal access code to the Black media. We're doing a nice program here about how it is that political puppets get bought off. And I want to remind you all about the Obamas who have gotten hundreds of millions of dollars, we estimate, from their various deals that they made, even though they haven't even delivered on them. So, of course, this is how you pay bribes and pay people off. And to make sure that they've kept them quiet and kept them papered up, they've now, you can see as the hush money here is filtered down to the children. So they've made sure that his generational wealth has been put in. Meanwhile, remember, he told Ta-Nehisi Coates that you and your kids, they just have to accept that things never move as fast as you want them to, and that, they're not going to be as safe as they would like to be, and there will always be problems here, and change never happens or comes as quickly as we want. Yeah, but he made sure that change came quickly enough for his kids, now didn't he? Yeah, he did. Where are your children at 25? You can see where Barack Obama's daughter is at 25, why she's been given all this preferential treatment here at 25. By the way, where are your kids at 25? Where are yours when they're 25 years old? How are they doing? Do they have some semblance of this happening for them? By the way, let's go over here to the telephone lines. Let me get caller from area code 415. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Denise in San Francisco.
All right, Denise in San Francisco, what's on your mind?
When I heard about her little film, I said to myself, it's just going to be a visual sleeping tablet. I just couldn't imagine that young girl with her first time movie being worth Sundance. So and then when I saw the flick, I saw that part where she had this man walking through trash, I said, okay, here we go, another typical degrade black people flick. And sure enough, that's what it looks like it is. Okay? I'm bored with it already. I thought you was going to talk more about some more of them political clowns. Which one of those have been bought off and what they've been bought off for? What hasn't Cobra been bought off for? Those people have been sitting down in D.C. for decades, and we're in the political season. I thought they'd be getting more louder and more visual. But I said to myself, nope, they've probably been bought off real cheap.
Well, no, the reason that they're quiet is because they've been delegitimized ever since we started speaking on reparations. They tried to horn themselves in and tried to hijack it. And what happened was they got beat back. So, well, N Cobra is effectively neutralized and obsolete now. Thank you very much for giving us a call today. Remember that we were the ones who put out the stories and stuff. Their leader, when he realized that he didn't have any more say, people were confronting him and calling him weak. Remember, he tried to sock somebody and whatnot, and that was the end of them. So in Cobra and all these old funny AstroTurf phony front groups, they're all obsolete today. They're all obsolete and gone. This is why if you're going to give some money to some folks, you're really just left with whoever is there. You don't have a competent operative class. Roland Martin has been hoping that somebody will paper him up for a while, and it ain't happening. So you don't have anything. Caller from area code 863, you're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Oh, this the Big Deacon Weezo, man, and I'm tired of these Democrats. I'm sick of these black pastors. Man, they let these old Democrats locally come on in and bring hot sausage, pickled eggs, and everything into the church so they can get some votes. They only show up every 4 years. And the sad thing about it is we got to start voting smart. We heterosexual black men, we for Trump. We ain't going to play no more games. I'm sick of seeing dudes wearing long stilettos in the church house with dresses on and they grandma wig on their head, man. Joe Biden them got this world so freaky deaky chicy. You don't know what the hell going on no more. And the sad thing about it shouldn't take a Cardi B hip-hop song and some great Kool-Aid with some good church and stale chicken to get black people to vote Democrat. It's sad, brother. And I appreciate what you're doing, but on the local level, the NAACP, even that Black Dude Caucus, all they speak for is illegal immigrants, and if you ain't LGBT with breasts and a pecker, they ain't got a dang thing to say for us heterosexual black men and the black children. We the only two groups that have suffered under this raggedy AI president Joe Biden and these Democrats. And with that being said, brother, Roland No Neck Martin with that Papa Jake Belly, and all these other people, man, brother, I'm sick of them. And it's time for a change. Trump 2024.
Well, I'm not going to endorse Trump, but I'm certainly not going to support Biden either. So, as far as I'm concerned, the rest of you, I mean, you can do as you please in that regard. Whenever anybody asks me that question, well, Jason, who are you supporting? I'm supporting Black empowerment. Black empowerment is on the ballot every day, not in election years. Black empowerment is on the ballot every day. So I support Black empowerment. For those of you who are wondering here, though, you may have been if you've been wondering here, we're talking tonight about how the Obamas got paid off, and how they've gotten paid off is they've been raking in a bunch of money from these movie deals. So very clearly, this is the method through which they're cleaning it up and cleaning up the money to go ahead and pay the family off for doing their bidding, and by making sure the rest of us didn't get anything here. And what I want to do, I want to replay for you Malia Obama, Obama's daughter, who wants to go by the name Malia Ann. She's got a film called The Heart, which is opening at Sundance. And I just wanted you to hear from her in her own words what the film is about. And you can see some still images. And for those of you just joining us, it is not just maximum cringe. It is also frighteningly reminiscent to some things you've already seen.
My name is Malia, and I am the writer-director of a short called The Heart. Here's some stills from the film, which will be screened with the U.S. fiction short films this year at Sundance. This is an odd little story, somewhat of a fable, about a man grieving the death of his mother after she leaves him an unusual request in her will. The film is about lost objects and lonely people, and forgiveness and regret, but I also think it works hard to uncover where tenderness and closeness can exist in these things. The folks who came together to make this film have my heart, pun intended, and I'm incredibly grateful to them for giving this story life, and we are grateful to Sundance for giving us the opportunity to share it with you all. We hope that you enjoy the film and that it makes you feel a bit less lonely, or at least reminds you not to forget about the people who are.
This is the directorial debut of Barack Obama's eldest daughter, Malia, 25 years old. And this is the way, remember, she's the writer and director, which means this imagery that you see, this is all her. So when you go back to films like Precious and, Monsters Ball and films like that, just remember this is, you want to know how these people get in these positions, the Lee Daniels and whatnot, they're showing you, oh, by the way, we got presidential families, well, at least the black one. Oh, we already got them locked up. We'll have no less than them pushing the agenda. And once again, remember, this is a farm team strategy. They're grabbing her young. They're hoping that this will be an investment that will pay off over the course of the next 5-10 years. So they're getting her young. Here's the real problem. The real problem is she's so damn awkward and afflicted. She doesn't have any voice in black society. There are no black people who vouch for her. There are no black people she deals with. She is an outsider. She is a foreigner. And with that being the case, that's the reason why this is already doomed to failure. She is not an incompetent operative. She is an incapable operative. She knows neither how to speak for nor to the black street. So what it shows you is that the folks who are paying the Obamas off, all you're doing is throwing good money after bad at this point. They have nothing more they can do for you, and the daughters have nothing they can do for you either, and you are not priming them nor grooming them to be competent communicators or operatives either. So just get ready to lose out all the way around. Let's get back over here to the telephone lines here again. Let me get caller from area code 301. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good evening, Jason. I'm Nathan from Fort Johnson, Louisiana.
All right, Nathan from Fort Johnson, what's on your mind?
Hi, good evening. Speaking up, even from your previous broadcast, you've seen President Obama invest millions, if not billions, into the illegal immigrant class to be able to stabilize their economic and political well-being within this country, particularly targeting, Black American establishments, right? So, sorry, I have kind of a flu. So even on top of that,
Okay. I don't know if this brother here was, in the midst of negotiating child support, or, if a rabid porcupine got a hold of his leg and was attempting to mug him. I don't know what was going on there, but I hope the brother's all right. I hope the brother's all right. I'm doing this tonight here because I want you all to understand that I've always said this since day one. The root of white supremacy's power is its economy. And do you all understand? They put big money. They put big money behind maintaining this. Folks, you're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars, and not just for one president. They're taking care of the ex-president and his kids. They put big money behind these things. They invested, they plowed big money into it, and they continue doing so, at least for as long as they can justify it. This is how committed to this system that they are. This is basically a stay in power tax. This is a tax that they pay to stay in power. Now, of course, they're incompetent and they're throwing money in places it shouldn't even be, and you will get absolutely no return on the investment, but they don't have anywhere else to spend it. It's not like they have a bunch of other people they can rely on. They ran out of operatives a whole long damn time ago, and now they're trying to prop up as many more as they can at this point, but they don't have anybody reliable. You see, the people that the Black Street listens to are not people like Malia Obama. Truth be told, this Black Street doesn't listen to Michelle or Barack anymore, which is why they're both in hiding. That's the great grift of this. Those two have lost all their efficacy and all their power and ability, and now they've gotten the money, even though they have nothing else to offer. So hope you got your value out of them while they were in office, because they don't have anything else they can do for you. There isn't anything else they can actually do for you now. People are too wise to them. They have nothing else to offer because people are too wise to them now. Call from area code 347. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from? Okay, caller from 347 has been abducted. Folks, this is the most dangerous internet radio program in the world. Not because something might happen to me, but because something might happen to you. While you're on the phone calling in, you never know. You might get ghosted. You might get disappeared while you're on the phone. So you have been given fair warning. This is the most dangerous program on the internet, not because I won't make it to the end of it, but you might not make it to the end of it, particularly if you call. So you get on the telephone lines if you dare. Caller from area code 702. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, how you doing, Jason? This is Les calling from Las Vegas.
All right, Les from Las Vegas. Let's see if you make it to the end of the call. What's on your mind?
Jason, man, I'm looking back at it. It was in 2008 when everybody was talking about hope and change. You was walking around thinking that it was going to change your life as a black person, voting for Barack Obama. Now we in 2024, and we can look back at that presidency, and what did it do for black people? What did we get? We didn't get anything. Looking back at it now in 2024, I look back at myself at 2008, how hyped I was and supporting Barack Obama, campaigning for him, going house to house and, trying to put him over the top. And I look back at it now at 2024 and said, man, I was so stupid.
Well, you know what? I will say this much. In all fairness, the Barack Obama, and I've talked about this for years, the only reason that I was behind him in 2007, 2008 was because he was talking like the Black Channel. He was talking like us. He's there with Jeremiah Wright. I mean, you can't fake that. So what I'm saying is that leading up to the election, he was talking like us. He wasn't making any bones about acknowledging racism. So as far as at that time and whatnot, this was revolutionary in that he sounded like us. So how could I not sit there and acknowledge that, by the way, he's using our vocabulary, he's talking like us. But there was an issue because it's like, okay, you're talking like us. Now let's see what happens once he gets in office. So I think there's a fair argument to be made for what was happening leading up to 2008. There was a fair argument to be made after George W. Bush and all that nonsense. There was a fair argument to be made then. but no one could plead ignorance after 2010. You couldn't plead being ignorant anymore. He had had his time in office. He was already undermining us. So by the time we get there, there's nothing left to support anymore. Not by the time you get there. So from 2007 to 2008, I would just say that was the way he was selling himself then was different. Once we get to 2010, 2012, now that the turn has happened. So there was some justification in 2007. There was nothing by the time you get to 2012. So I will say that much. So I don't know what you were doing in 2008 necessarily. But if you were still in the bandwagon in 2012, yeah, that's an issue.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we should have got some type of warning sign when he threw Brother Jeremiah right under the bus. And and then, like you said, 2010, 2012, and then we wasn't getting anything. We weren't getting anything. When the second term came around, people still held out hope. Then we just, like they said, it was getting LGBTQ was getting stuff. The Hispanic community, the immigrants was getting stuff. Remember the Dreamers? They had a dream too, and we wasn't getting anything. And it was just like, now we look back at it more and say, man, we just, it's just a major disappointment, man.
Well, let me go a little bit further into that there. Now, about throwing Jeremiah right under the bus. I mean, the thing is, like I say, obviously, because of Fox News and other outlets, the optics were not very flattering in that regard. Having a candidate who runs on a black agenda does not mean having a black nationalist. I want you all to understand we have to be more sophisticated than that. The worst thing that I've always told you all this when I talk to people, when they talk to me about business and things like that, I'll tell you, don't say black first. Don't say that. Because this is not the way you gain power. You don't gain power by wearing big ass billboards and t-shirts and things like that. What's understood doesn't have to be explained. Real recognizes real. So in reality, if you are conducting yourself a certain way, you don't ever have to even actually say black. Hell, truth be told, you don't have to actually say reparations. Truth be told, if you've carried yourself a certain way, your reputation, your actions speak for you. When you have to make a big argument for yourself, that's because your actions haven't spoken for you. Or maybe they did, and it wasn't very flattering. So I would admonish you all here that we do a lot better by being low key, but low key means understated. Low key doesn't mean unstated. Let me explain exactly what I mean here. You don't have to run around saying black empowerment. Having a black agenda doesn't mean that you even have to say the word black. It's in what you do. Somebody please show me, where is the white agenda? Where is it? Show me the candidate who is saying, here's his 10-point platform for the white agenda. The guy who tries it will immediately get slept. You don't do that. You're off code as hell. You just made everybody a target. You don't do that. The LGBT movement is a fringe movement. They can afford to do things like that. And then take a look at the headwinds they keep meeting. When you are too blatant, when you're in a certain position, especially if you're in our position where it's an everybody against us, you don't do yourself any favors by making yourself this great big huge target. What you need to do for black folk is be successful, and you need to push the agenda in its actions. You don't need to push the agenda by saying, okay, and today we're going to have our 10 minutes of black power. We don't need that. That's not what we need. Well, Jason, how do you know who you can trust? That's what I was just explaining there. I'll go over it again. Folks, the folks we need to be concerned about what they do. By what they do. I submit to you, Dr. John Henry Clark was not this big person running around screaming black all the time. He wasn't. And yet his credentials were impeccable. Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, she didn't run around doing that all the time. And yet her credentials were impeccable. Brother Neely Fuller doesn't do that. In case you all didn't notice, he speaks about white supremacy. You don't really see the word black come in that very much. And yet, take a look at it. When you're dealing with the dominant society, saying white is forbidden. It's always been forbidden to say white. We don't use the W word. We talk about America and society and the people. You don't say white. And somebody who does, like, get him the hell out of here. He's blown our cover. He's blown our cover. This is how sophisticated that system of power is. That you have the likes of Brother Neely Fuller who can tell you that nobody can keep something like this in place that's this large and this consistent if everybody's not on code, and yet everyone is on code and nobody says the word. You have a system that gives white preferential treatment and you are forbidden to use the word white. That's amazing. But how does it work? It works because everybody is on code. Therefore, it is not just superfluous, it is redundant and unnecessary to say white. And so everybody else spends their time trying to fight this thing, and you use the word white, and yet they're saying, ain't no white here. Show me where the white is. And there's this white statue over here, and there's this white institution over here, but the word white is nowhere. You don't have a white to attack because they've made sure, oh, by the way, we've scrubbed that word white. So they're telling you, okay, write some legislation that undoes white supremacy. Meanwhile, they've made sure that there's not the word white anywhere. All you can do is talk about Nathan Bedford Forrest and Lincoln Rockwell and David Duke, but you can't find written in the law where it's okay, there's this white thing in the law and we're going to go after that because it ain't there. And what I'm saying is that's the same thing in business, in academia. They run everything, and yet you are forbidden to even say that word. When I say forbidden, I'm talking about on their side. We say white all day. They never do. And they are empowered as a result. So I would submit to you all that when we truly come into understanding what real power is, the first thing you will do is, put away your black fist and the sloganeering and those things that put a spotlight on you. Having a spotlight on you is dangerous, particularly as black people, because you're telling them who to go after. You're sitting up here saying who to go after. Now, raising your profile is a bad thing. That's a bad thing because we're targeted by everyone. We have to be effective without raising the profile. Let me tell you very, very clearly here. I don't need anybody, like I say, Barack Obama didn't have to give me any pro-black stance. I take a look at what people do. And that will do the talking for me. I'd have been perfectly fine with him if I looked around him, because here's the thing. I'm looking around Obama at the people that he has empowered. So you see, I want you all to understand the inverse of this. Get this very, very clearly. It wouldn't matter if Barack Obama was talking about reparations 24/7. What is he doing? See, you can say those words if you want to, and he can sit up here and bring in Cobra to the White House or whatever. I'm just saying hypothetically since he's not president anymore, but you get the idea. You can bring him to the White House, whatever you want to do there. My real thing is, okay, by the way, when you finish talking, I'm going to look to see what you're doing. I'm more interested in the people around you. Who are the people around you? Show me what you're doing. Yeah, I hear you talking about reparations, James Clyburn, Sheila Jackson Lee. Do you all get the trick bag here? Yeah, even if you had somebody who was saying that word, we can't trust that. We couldn't trust them even if they're saying the word, Gary Chambers, even if they're claiming it. That's not the measurement we need to use. I would much rather have a candidate who never said the word reparations and put together an agenda that actually addresses black people's needs and we never use the word reparations than to have people who use the words reparation, black power, black empowerment, black economics, blackity black, 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 and then take a look at what they're doing. So I know it might sound surprising to a lot of you here, but when you talk about having a black agenda, I could sit here and listen to a candidate express a black agenda and never use the word reparations. But real gonna recognize real. Real's gonna recognize real because reparations is a term, but what are the underpinnings of it? On the one hand, we do say cash payments. Oh, absolutely, we do say cash payments, but remember, I'm the guy who gave you all the phraseology reparations across the board. And what that means is that, for example, right here on YouTube, they got to give up theirs too, because you see, YouTube has been prejudicially engineered to make multimillionaires, and now in the case of Mr. Beast, probably billionaires out of white people, while at the same time suppressing black people. It's like, oh, you got to pay too. You got to pay too. Well, cash payments would be nice. I suppose it would be, but you know what? This platform's algorithm can be redone to make sure that we show that, by the way, the folks you've been suppressing, you tip that scale right back the other way. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, you name it. Without the word reparations ever having been used, without the word reparations ever having been stated, please understand, people, what I'm talking about right now, this is what frightens them. Because what they understand is that if you allow that first one to go, well, you obviously can't stop there because there are too many similarities and too many beneficiaries in other areas who've made a lot more money and gotten a lot more benefit. So you can't stop there. And you're right. And you're right. So I want you to have a more expansive mindset of that. The Jeremiah Wright thing was definitely regrettable. Absolutely. But that's politics. That didn't really, it didn't offend me to the level you might think it did because I understand politics. I get it. I understand that. So if Obama needed, let's just say if Obama was the right candidate and he needed to distance himself from Jeremiah Wright to get to the White House, folks, that's legit. That's politics. That's the way that goes. That's the way that goes. Let me explain something to you all here. Too many folks here don't understand how politics really works. You have no real clue how it really works. And because of that, because you don't get it, they tend to say silly things. Folks, right now, Donald Trump has been throwing elbows, hammer strikes on every damn body around him. And as they've all been getting knocked off one by one, what is the first thing that they do after Donald Trump finishes inserting his foot up their rumps? They've all turned around and said, I endorse Donald Trump for president. Ron DeSantis, that you all remember, I told you he thinks he's running for president. He's really not. Remember, I told you all that before. You can go back through my Twitter. And I said, Ron DeSantis, who thinks he's running for president, he's really not. He's just wasting a bunch of time. He just thinks he's running for president, but he isn't. Well, now he's dropped out, and guess who he's endorsing? Wasn't Donald Trump just calling him Ron DeSanctimonious this morning? Wasn't he just calling Ron DeSantis Ron DeSanctimonious this morning? Vivek Ramaswamy, wasn't he sitting up here mocking him just last week? I want y'all to get that. Kamala Harris, remember when those women were coming out in the middle of the damn campaign in 2020? They were coming out talking about Joe Biden sexually assaulted me. He grabbed me. He groped me. I mean, he couldn't figure out which part of me to grope on, but he was searching around. He was trying the best he could. Remember what Kamala Harris said? I believe those women. I believe them. Well, it don't get any more serious than that now, does it? People, does it a lot of you sitting up here holding grudges against family members because they didn't give you $30 a few years ago? This woman was running for president talking about, I believe these women that Joe Biden sexually assaulted them. Can we get an investigation going? That's literally what she said in 2020. Remember? Joe Biden named her his running mate, and don't you know that was the end of that? People, that's politics. Do you understand that? That's politics. There's a bunch of you, I'm just saying, this ain't the realm for you, because you would be like, okay, I will make the damn ice cream salesman my vice presidential running mate before that heifer get to walk up in here. And Joe Biden threw the damn door open for her. Something that you would never do. There's a bunch of you fellas here right now. I mean, you still sitting up here writing hate letters to your exes. This woman sat up here and literally said, I believe these women when they say he sexually assaulted them. And yet she's in the White House next to him, smiling every damn day. That's politics. That's politics. Sometimes to make these things work, some unpleasantness needs to occur. We don't get to choose the landscape here. It might be necessary to distance yourself from some people because the numbers are the numbers. What you can negotiate in the electorate is what you can negotiate. Sometimes that's just the way it's going to be. So I understand that. I also understand there's going to be some sharp elbows thrown sometimes. Look, folks, y'all got to understand, there are a lot more of you who are more understanding of rap battles than you are of politics. Folks, these elections and whatnot is like a rap battle, man. Are you kidding me? It's like battle rap. Anything goes. When you're in the cipher, anything goes. So a lot of you understand that. You're sophisticated enough to understand that. But when it comes to damn politics that decides your life, all of a sudden you're unsophisticated. I don't know what that means. Ooh, they shouldn't take it right there. So I get it. I get it. And if it were necessary to never say the word reparations again in order to get reparations, I'm sophisticated enough to understand that. The only thing is I would just simply require that have the knowledge of a candidate that I know that what's understood doesn't have to be explained. I'm perfectly fine with that. I would be perfectly fine with a candidate who understands what we need, and it is understood between us and him what we need, and you never have to say it. You know why? That would actually be a benefit to us because it would free up a bunch of bandwidth for the rest of us to be able to concentrate on other things. Imagine all the other things that we'd be able to communicate about if we had candidates who simply executed the will and allowed us to free up a bunch of time to go focus on some other things. Imagine that. Call from Area Code 301, you're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, it's me, Jason. It's Nate from Fort Johnson, Louisiana.
Nate from Fort Johnson, what's on your mind?
Yeah, I just want to tab back to the whole Obama circle. I remember earlier you was talking about his endorsements from the political establishment, but similar to folks like Tiffany Cross and Roland Martin, who's to say that once they finally throw up their hands with trying to use these black political operatives to sway the black vote and to sway the black agenda, that, let's say, in 3 to 5 years, they turn on Obama and Michelle and Barack back to the point where now they're copping pleas with trying to get sympathy from the black community.
Well, I mean, look, there are folks who have short-term viability and folks who have long-term viability. The Tiffany Crosses, that was back when they were trying to cultivate a group of spokespeople. They've been trying to cultivate a group of, quote, new civil rights leaders. Remember, they tried that during Trayvon Martin and whatnot. We smacked that down before we could even get started. Had magazine covers. Oh, these are going to be the civil rights leaders of the 21st century, and all of them are gone now, which is the whole thing. Now, we're still here. We're still here. We're still viable. The ones they tried to prop up are gone. So on cable news, they've been trying to do it, and it's failed spectacularly. Simone Sanders, dud. Tiffany Cross, gone. Joy Reid, joke. So they're trying, but because they have nothing else to do, they don't have any other option. They got to get somebody who's going to prime the pump. The problem is the people that they keep, number one, the message that these folks are delivering is bad. And number two, the messengers are illegitimate. That's the problem. The messengers they keep choosing are climbers. What's her name? Angela Rye just wants a job. Jamel Hill just wants a job. Jamila Lemieux just wants a job. Tiffany Cross just wants a job. What are they all upset about today? Because they all got let go. Yeah, they lost their job. They lost their job. That's all they wanted. So these are individuals who have a short-term utility. Well, you're not going to have very much power. All right, next you're going to have the individuals who have a longer-term utility. Now, these are going to be most likely the people who are either very popular or they have a political position. Political positions can be important because you don't necessarily, nobody can fire you from the corporation if you're an elected politician. So they can definitely harass you, but you're not their employee directly, so they can't fire you. So in their case, you actually have to curry favor with them. Because the problem with a elected official is even if he doesn't make it to his next term, he can change things in a manner that are devastating for you, short term and long term. So you're far less likely to want to pick a fight with them if you can avoid it. So there's a difference there. Now, once you've given him the payoff, you got to be careful. I want you to understand corporations are very sensitive to this kind of thing. Because as you're aware, individuals come and go, but corporations are eternal, theoretically. Well, what that means is that they are not paying off Obama. Get this. I want you all to understand. By giving out these gifts and giving out these payoffs here and giving out this preferential treatment, they are not paying off Obama. They're not sending a message of we're paying off Obama. They're sending a message of we pay off the office of the presidency. That this is the preferential treatment that we give the office, not the man. So if you become president, this is one of the perk benefits you can look forward to. But remember, it doesn't have any viability if they don't keep their word. So you can't sit up here and throw a few bones and then desert them. That's not going to encourage anybody to have your back, because it's like, okay, well, you paid a little bit and then you hung them out to dry. No, you're going to have to follow through on it. Even if it's a bit distasteful, even if it's a bit inefficient, even if it's not really to your liking, you're going to have to follow through on it. Otherwise, you get a Trump in office, somebody who's a lot harder to buy off, or simply isn't available because they no longer believe that you will keep your word. Well, why would we sit up here and make long-term commitments to you when you don't keep your word? So whether you like it or not, you got to keep them caked off. Otherwise, it sends the message that we don't really support the office of the presidency. And if you do our bidding, well, thanks, Jack, and we leave you high and dry. So just recognize there's a difference between the folks who have a short-term utility, long-term utility. It's a delicate balancing act, and you have to manage this properly. Otherwise, it could get away from you.
Right. And one more thing, just a tidbit. So a little bit on me. I work in the research and development sector, Lockheed Martin, particularly the cyber systems. So kind of in like, especially I see in the tech field, some parts of the military and law enforcement. Why is it that usually black young males or females or whatever, when they get in positions of power or when they climb the socioeconomic ladder, that they sort of divorce themselves from the rest of the community? Like for me, I make pretty good money, but for me, it's always black first. But, it's just trying to get other black people, even people around my age, because I'm 24, or even those a little older who are like in the Gen X or baby boomer generations, that they just so quick to kind of fold over, then too indebted into the system. When it comes to outlining a clear black agenda, like even reparations or a hate crime bill, or undoing the systematic deprivation of our economy and political structure, that they're just not on board, that they don't want to
Well,
participate.
because they're not. Remember, most of your politicians, well, I'll say at least half of them now, most of the fossils have started dying off or leaving office. But remember the Clyburns, and the Sheila Jackson Lees, that is that civil rights generation. That's them. So what you would have to do is bring in a whole new group of people who come from the soil. But that civil rights generation political class, they were the ones going into office specifically with the goal of getting bought off. I mean, they went in office saying, okay, we're the bribes. That's what they did when they got in office, and that's what's been happening ever since. So in reality, your so-called black senior, Sylvester Turner in Houston. I mean, I can go down the damn list, man. Take a look at how old they are. Well, yeah, that's them. That's the baby boomer civil rights generation. That's them. That's them. That's them. That's why you're not getting anything. That's why you're not getting anything from them. So with that being the case, I want you to accurately articulate, it's like accurately identify, well, Jason, they're not doing anything. They're going on with it. Yeah, because that's them. Those are the old timers who all they wanted was integration. That was it. They didn't want black empowerment. If they got anything from their parents, they squandered it. They don't want a black Wall Street. James Clyburn does not want a black Wall Street. I've been down there to Charleston. I've been down there. You've got a $1 billion waterfront development by Lowe's going up there. I've seen it. Off of Market Street and whatnot. It looks like San Francisco there now. Nice, don't get me wrong, kind of boutique, rustic kind of way. But I mean, we're talking about a huge development. I got video of it. Huge development. And yet, Clyburn's never said anything like that for us. Neither did John Lewis. Neither did any of the others. Elijah Cummings. We can go down the list. How the hell is it y'all were in office for decades and that never occurred? The Republicans won't shut the hell up about economics. Y'all realize that? The Republicans won't shut their damn mouths about it. And don't think that Nancy Pelosi isn't interested while her and her husband have made millions of dollars with their phony ass supposed stock market picks when we all know it's insider trading. It would be delicious to see the SEC do a investigation of that, but don't hold your breath. So everybody else is talking about economics, except when you come over to the black ones, they talking about LGBT and civil rights and voting. So all they talk about is politics and how to be better, more politically active. But what they don't talk about is black empowerment, which is supposed to be the benefit that you receive for politics. Now, that never comes up. These other folk won't shut their damn mouths about it. So it's not accidental. It never has been. We've been voting for and electing the very people who are against it. And these individuals are selected. John Lewis was a mush-mouthed dude who they knew what he was from the very beginning. That's why the white power structure selected him and said, okay, Negroes, this is the guy you can support because he got his ass whooped on Edmund Pettus Bridge. And then they bring you a never-ending stream of those individuals. Now we started to say we want to see something different. Now the political establishment is telling us your politics, the politicians you want are unelectable. That's interesting. They weren't unelectable before now. Now all of a sudden you claim they are. Sounds like you're scared. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller Miracle 647. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from? Caller from Miracle 647. Last try. Caller from area code 647 has been abducted. Caller from area code 708. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Good evening. This is William Miller. Hello?
Okay, William Miller calling from where?
I'm calling from the Chicago metro area.
Okay.
You know, looking back on Barack Obama's presidency, living in the Chicago area, I went down to Grant Park tonight. He got the nomination from the Democratic Party, and watched all the people, and everybody was so excited about we got a black president coming. But within being down in Grant Park, I ran into a group of young white kids, and they were saying, "You guys are being tricked. You're not gonna like what Obama's gonna do." I said, "Oh, you guys are just jealous." They said, "Just wait and see. You're not going to like what Obama's going to do." And they were right. I feel like such a damn fool, you know? But Obama was a Trojan horse. You know, they really tricked the people. And that's all I got to say about the situation.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Yeah, he sounded like Afro Hitchcock, not Alfred Hitchcock, Afro Hitchcock. And so thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Well, folks, like I say, I want to do this for you because I want you to understand that I, as a filmmaker who's actually made some inroads and actually made some things happen, I know how this works. I know what you're supposed to see. I know how that's supposed to happen. And I took a look at this and I saw how this went down. And I'm seeing that they're still doling out the rewards. And I'm like, oh, yeah, this is why they did it. This is how they paid you off. This is what you got. We have to be on guard about this because Obama is a worst case scenario, an extreme case scenario, but hardly an isolated one. This is what they do to pay these folks off. They make sure their families are good. They're just lining them up for generational wealth. And meanwhile, telling you that you and your kids are on your own. And our job's not to fall for it. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up on tonight's program. If you are new here to the Black Channel, welcome to the Haven of Intelligent Black Thought. We do this every weekend. Click that red subscribe button. Click that yellow notification bell. Join us each and every time that we are here. If you haven't been to our website, blackchannelfilms.com, you want to go and check out our groundbreaking best-selling documentary work, 7 a.m. Gentrified Race War. All available on DVD and streaming. Go to blackchannelfilms.com. That is blackchannelfilms.com. I would like to thank everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program on PayPal, Venmo, Walter, Joseph, Ronald, Andrew L., Denise, DeAndre, Wahib, and everybody else here. Thank you very much for your support tonight. Thank you all for watching live or recorded. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, Black is the future, and the future is uncompromising.